This is going to be a little run around 2,000 years of history adjacent to the Antonine Wall in the central belt of Scotland. Apologies for the video. I have only just, this is my first ever use of a GoPro, and so it was mounted a little low on my chest. This is a map of the route we're going to take today along the side of the canal. We'll return back, we'll go up to Bar Hill Fort, Iron Age Fort, cross to Croy Hill, which is the route I'm outlining now, and then back down. So in general, you'll be listening to the audio as it comes, but every now and again I'll interject with voiceover, largely because I'm so unfit that all you hear is heavy breathing, but also to interject maybe a nugget or two of wisdom that I've missed or that you can't hear in the original audio. This will evolve over time, I'm sure. My original plan was to record voiceovers for everything and remove the original audio, but you kind of lose a little bit of atmosphere when you don't hear the bird song, etc. in the background, or as we're about to hear, when you don't hear the rat run cars going past, travelling into Glasgow.
After the fitness test on Saturday, this is going to be quite a test in itself, as my legs are tired and achy. But I'm also testing out new equipment. The Hero 9 and a pair of video glasses from Amazon. At a tenth the price of the Hero 9. Let's see how we get on. I've got a pair of Adidas T-Rex trail shoes and a backpack with my jacket, because although the forecast is dry, it's Scotland. And Scotland always rains when you're expecting it not to. So we're going to start with Bar Hill Fort and then Croy. And Croy is up there. And that's our second Roman fort. Bar Hill is an Iron Age fort that the Romans reoccupied later on and built a spectacular bathhouse and barracks, and there's still some remains left. We'll wander around that because I'll need the break, and then we'll do Croy on the way back and down through Nethercroy Woods back to Auchenstary Marina, where we've parked the car. Most of this today will be a walk. I don't have the legs to run. And when we get to Bar Hill Fort, it's very steep. So the Antonine Wall runs between the Firth of Clyde in the west to the Firth of Forth in the east, around 40 miles, built in the reign of Antoninus Pius. Some say to keep out the Scotty and Picty tribes from further north and west. Others say it was a vanity project. Scholars disagree on why it was actually built. Personally, I just think it's really cool that 2,000 years of history are on my doorstep. Okay, so this is the only road we're coming up to that we actually have to pass by, and it's only a crossing, and then we're free of traffic until we come back down. So we're going to do a loop up and back, and then a big circuit after that. It's about 13 degrees Celsius today, and I'm already feeling warm. This is a rat run from Glasgow. Commuters. Hence, it's a busier road than it by right should be. Okay, well, we're past the road. We're not going to get lots of view from the top, but we'll see what we achieve. Let's try and pick the pace up a little touch. Because I'm also wearing a hydration pack, which I can hear sloshing around. We shall see if the auto suggestion of that means I need to pee. So the first part of this is just gravel track, farm road access. Pretty easy. Even in rain, I've done this route 1,000 times. Morning. So, a bit like many millions across the world, COVID changed my life, but not not in the way I expected it to, or not in the way perhaps you're expecting it to. So, February last year, I had had enough of my job as a high level manager with an engineering firm. Successful, both the firm and personally in my career, but unfulfilled. My fiance and I, with my mother, flew to Vancouver, where my fiance is from, and we had a long conversation about our futures and how it went, and I decided there and then I'm going back to university. So while we were away, just as a side note, we happened to get married, but the proper wedding is still to come because my children were not at it. We're just the paperwork, the civil servant, but we'll still have a Kaylee and a right good party. So, came back, started researching university courses. COVID happened. In March, I was asked to look at my department with a view to putting as many on furlough as possible to save the company. There was no work being done. Julie did that and decided that one of the people who should go on furlough is me. So I did, and I spent the remainder of last summer doing my garden, learning to bake bread, improving my cooking skills, which, thanks to my mother, were not bad to start off with, but have improved. Variety and repertoire. And then I duly handed in my notice from my work and went off to do a degree in renewable energy engineering. Having completed that, in the summer of this year, I got a phone call from an ex-colleague of mine asking, since I'm a student, would I mind coming and helping him out with some design work, for which he would pay me, obviously. Therefore, I'd be helping him, because his engineer had quit, and he'd be helping me get my wage and back in the workforce. Julie did that, and after a week realised I don't want to be in an office any longer. My birthday was coming up. I turned 45 end of August there, just a few days ago. So I decided there and then I'm going to stop and I'm going to try this. I'm going to show you the lands that I love in Scotland, and then in October we're moving. My wife and I are moving to Italy. We'll spend the next 2 months after landing looking at different areas of Italy to purchase property in. Now a quick break before this monstrous hill, but the ditch you can see here, if I go over here, this is the ditch in front of the Antonine Wall. So over there, barbarians, over here, civilization and Rome. Although it was never that although there's hill forts all along it, and they're watchtowers with line of sight to each other so they can light signal fires to stop the Picti of Mano and the Scoti of the West, the sea pirates. Incidentally, you might know them as Scottish. Pictland disappeared, subsumed by the more powerful Gaelic-speaking Scoti. So the sea pirates won and got their own country, of which I am one of them. So, Italy. We're going to view a few areas that we want to live in, and then we'll make our decision after that in December when we're back in Scotland to celebrate Christmas with my family. Right, I'm probably not going to talk for the next bit. I might moan a bit and I might collapse, but this is steep, and this is only one summit. There's another one, thankfully a shorter climb, but another one just behind it. So I'm going to shut my geggy. I will record over this so you don't hear my obscene heavy breathing. We've come a height though, and we're about maybe 2/3, yeah, 2/3 from the top, although probably more like 4/5 in distance as it gets steeper as you go up. The poor old buggers, the Romans though, it's not like this. When they were cutting this ditch out and heaping the turf up, because the Antonine Wall is not stone, this is a much later stone dike to separate one farmer's land from another. The ditch and the wall itself is just rubble and turf. It's what they dug out of here, they put up there to create a steep ditch that attackers would have struggled getting their men and horses down, giving defenders the advantage to pelt on them missiles. But as I say, it was more of a statement. Look how big and tough we are. You're just little tribes. You cannot possibly take on this mighty army that can do these things. The response from the Picts and the Scots? Well, they didn't take it on. They sailed round it and attacked Kent in the South of England. They attacked Northumbria, the north of England. They attacked the Gododin in Edinburgh and the Strathclyde in the west. Where there's a will, there's a way. So over here is the Campsie Hills, behind that Stirling and the Trossachs, and over that way Loch Lomond, if you could see far enough. Well, we'll get a better view from the waypoint. Oh, up there. So we're now on top of Bar Hill Fort, a natural hill mounded up with soil in the Iron Age by the locals, the tribe that lived here, whose name I don't yet know, but I'll see if I can research it and put it in a comment down below. So over there we have the Firth of Forth, which you can just see in the very far distance, and then the Fife Hills behind that. And then this side, as I said, Loch Lomond, and then far to the west is the Firth of Clyde. And this route is part of the John Muir Way, which incorporates all of the Antonine Wall, I think, 40 miles of it, plus an additional 30 miles overall, goes down the east coast and goes right over to Greenock, I think, in the west. Anyway, enough of my prattling for a while. Let's head down and see what's left of Rome after almost 2,000 years. It's a beautiful still day today. It doesn't look it, looks grey and cold, it's really not. It's a low mist because it's so still, but it's very warm. I hope coming through in the camera it doesn't look as miserable, because it's really not. It's really rather lovely. And although I said at the beginning it's 13 degrees, it feels closer to 20 now with your blood pumping. It's a very pleasant running temperature, albeit all we're doing is ambling now. So there's a little plaque on the Iron Age Castle Hill itself. What? Local people, it doesn't say who, but we'll see. In the first few centuries BC, so this is 2,000 years old up there. And this is the Antonine Wall ditch that we've just run up. And now we're going over to see Bar Hill Fort. Of course, these trees are all much newer, much younger. So this would have been open scrubland all the way to the Campsies in the background there, so that they had a good view. And there was a watchfire at the top of Castle Hill Fort, which can be seen from its neighbour across the way when these trees are gone, called Croy Hill. And once we've wandered round the Roman remains here, that's where we're going next. But first, let's have a visit with a Roman camp. This is a lot longer than I thought it was. Or I'm less fit than I thought I was. I suspect the latter. Right. So, what do we have? The Principia, or Principia, I'm never sure if Latin has a hard C or a soft C. So, here we are here, Bar Hill Fort. We're going to Croy Hill Fort next, and then back to the car. And they found Roman remains. It was dug in 1902. There was another dug in late 70s, early 80s. And then recently there's been a 3D model done of the place. So, as you can see, where the walls were have now been laid concrete to give you an idea of what was here. So you've got the old well that served as water. It was no good having a strong fortification and no way to water your troops. What have we got here? Hall. Helpful. A hall. But these plaques are great. I mean, I know I was laughing at that one. You've got an office. Trust me, it gets more exciting. A regimental shrine. The Sacculum, or yeah, I think that would probably be Sacculum. And then a regimental office. So shrine on either side, sorry, in the middle, and then office either side. This is the path down to Twecker, takes you down to the canal. It's another excellent route to run back on the flat. It's about 2.5 kilometres back to where Auchenstady Marina is, where I've parked. It's a shame the mist is down over in the far distance, because it is quite a spectacular view out over the Clyde Valley and the Kelvin Valley, the two rivers. So we've got a bathhouse down here from memory, with the 3 sections getting progressively hotter. And all I remember of that is frigidarium, cold, which I could probably do with my sore legs, to be honest. Right, there you go. There's a plan of how it would have looked originally with these hypocaust system, underfloor heating, as you and I would know it. So you've got frigidarium, cold, laconicum, dry heat, tepidarium, warm steam, coldarium, hot steam, and then it's all under this hypocaust, this raised floor. So over at this end you've got the boiler, and then that was your bathhouse there. It's not a massive structure. Furnace, there you go. Not a massive structure at all, but think about it. This is your hot room, coldarium, your warm room, tepidarium, tepid, where we get that word in English, your hot dry room, laconicum, and then passage. We don't have the frigidarium left anymore. Well, maybe we do here. I haven't walked on far enough. Oh, there we go, the frigidarium. And then probably a changing room here to get your clothes off. But imagine this on a bleak, wintry, windy day. Believe it or not, that's quite common here. And you have such a thing as a bathhouse. I mean, I just wouldn't want to leave it. It's as simple as that. Right, so that is our little trip around Bar Hill Fort. Now for the journey back to Croy. hill fort. And for those of you watching at home, I will fast forward this section, and for me running it, you can pray that I don't collapse somewhere along a route. We're not going back down that steep hill. To hell with it. Fatigue in my legs and the fact that we're going downhill over quite hard ground at the moment. This will be a testament to how good Hearing software is at image stabilisation. It's great fun to come down on a bike as well, as these undulations in the ground give you some serious air if you're getting good speed on. And considering how steep it is, very difficult not to get a good speed on. garbage. .30, so we're past commuting time. This road should have dulled down to a riot by now. But in the summer, it is not easy to see past the vegetation. Right, so after completed the loop, now for our circuit. And first is the horrible, long and quite steep in places, dual ascent adjacent to the Antonine Wall again, up to Croy Hill and Croy Hill Fort. And the weather is still gorgeous, but it feels like it's lifted a little. Or maybe it's just we're below the mist now, as we've still got the climb to do. I am walking for a reason, by the way, folks. It is a punishing climb, this one. This is the one I like less than Bar Hill Fort. This feels worse. It is longer in distance, though shallower in gradient. But I think probably because it's open expanse either side, it feels like you make no progress, and mentally it's exhausting. So there's no quarry down here. That's why this road is so good. Down there, disused now. And then this is the village of Croy, just outside Cumbernauld. It still has some industry going on, which is great to see. There's some new renewable energy stuff going on up here, which I always like. It's dear to my heart. So a little bit more populous here. And then this is where we start our ascent. We come off the road. And begin our climb. Another sign for the quarry on our left there. That's why this fence is up. You get a better view from the top of Croy Hill, but around here this stone was very useful for road building, hardcore we call it, because it can take a high compressive load and it's easy to break up. So it was quarried extensively here. As we're in an area called North Lanarkshire, and North and South Lanarkshire are both mining communities primarily, although most prevalent in the 19th and early 20th centuries. Not many mines still going on now. Certainly none for coal and lead, which is what was quarried. You'll notice that I'm still walking. Eventually I'll get the courage to start running again, but probably not till we're through the gate. Not sure if the height truly comes through in what I can see versus what the camera picks up. These tunnels are awesome. When the bracken, that's this fern, grows up in the summer, this all just dies back in another couple of weeks and there's nothing here. And then in the spring it comes back and these ferns are 6 foot plus. I'm 6'3" and they tower over me. Oh, right. I always get to this point and read this sign with a slightly sarcastic bent. Welcome to Croy Hill. And by the way, you're welcome to it. Right. So again, on the left there is the ditch of the Antonine Wall. And again, we're taking the route that the Roman soldiers would have used to patrol from Bar Hill behind us to Croy Hill in front of us, then on to Westerwood and Falkirk and the sea. And by the way, the wall itself wasn't it wasn't only a wall, it was more, we call it the Antonine Wall, but really it was an Antonine's pious defensive line, same as Hadrian's was. So while Hadrian's was a stone wall, it had a line of forts going down the coast to supply and protect the wall and the peoples north of it. Well, the Antonine Wall was the same. Line of forts down the coast to protect the peoples between the walls, who were, if not subject to Rome, were certainly client kingdoms, in that they traded and relied on Roman military might to come to their aid against the Picti and the Scotti and others. I'm going to shut my geggy again. Very enlightening, and not at all to do with the fact that I can't breathe. A reconstruction of the wall itself, although this is a signal fire, it has faded somewhat. There's one fire, another fire visible. There's a watch fire there, just, and then here's the extent of the Roman Empire at the time that this wall was built. And like I said, it went down the coast in a string of forts, as did Hadrian's below it. And yeah, it says here to control the movement of people, and it was 37 miles, 60 kilometres, and we were up there. Just at that gap in the trees is the wall, and to the left of that you can almost make out the waypoint, the top of Bar Hill, or Castle Hill, sorry. Right. Another thing that makes this more difficult, the camber coming up here, it's constantly against you. Running down it's slightly easier. But not much. Because by the time you get to here, you've done around 8k if you're going the other way around. Which makes this descent, which is quite steep, tricky, especially in mud. So, you feel like you've hit the summit here, and the view is incredible. More quarrying off to the right there, and the wall to the left. So, yeah, you feel you've hit the summit, and then you look to your head and see there's another hill there, and then you look to your left and see there's another hill there. And while the one to the right has got the wide path and is not as great a descent before they climb, of course we're going to want the left. Why? Because I mess up, I'm thrown, and mostly because that's where Croy Hill Fort really is. So, here we go again. So there's Bar Hill Fort again. There's the canal just kicking out through those trees, and you can see Falkirk and Grangemouth and the Firth of Forth over there. We're almost in the centre of the central belt of Scotland, and the Wall ditch down to our left. Harder to see here because of the undergrowth. It's the most welcome part of this whole run. Very few climbs left. A couple, but they're not like that one. So, Next up is Croy Hill Fort, where you can see better the rectilinear walls. If you imagine the trees are gone, you see it a lot clearer. So we're in the little watchtower here. Let's see if we can, there we go. The fort is in front of us, which I'll show you in a second. And then there's a little farmstead. And the remains of some of that are visible. So difficult today because we've got so much growth, but there's a wall there and it comes down to the sweep of just next to the ditch where the wall goes right straight ahead to that, towards that tree, and then it turns right again, and that's the fort. And the farmstead is over here. There's no brick building there now that was part of the quarry works, but no bathhouse remains over here. Whether that means there wasn't one, I don't know. You have to hoof it to Bar Hill to get a bath. By the time you come back here, you'd be cold again. I don't know. So, I'm about to cross over inside the wall of the fort. We'll just take a wee wander. Nothing much to see on this one, but that's us now inside the fort. These trees are not there, but they do mark the corners of the wall where the fort was. Pretty cool place. And at this time of year, they normally graze cows up here, but I haven't seen any signs saying beware of cattle. Decisions. My legs are tired and you're probably done listening to me, so we'll hook a left at this signpost for the John Muir Way. Like I said, it goes about 70 miles across Scotland, this route. I'll look up who John Muir was. I should know that, it's embarrassing I don't. I think he was an ecologist and keen saviour of lands like this. Keen to open it up, but I need to look that up. So, incidentally, all these nuggets of wisdom that I'm throwing are memory from stuff I've read, conversations with my dad, who was a born teacher. I'm in no way an expert on the subject, and if you know better than I, please comment down below. I'd love to read them because I'm always learning. My favourite part of history is pre-Romans, Western Europe, and then post-Roman, Middle Age, so-called Dark Age Britain. It's so fascinating what you can tease out of place names and what that tells you about the history of it. There's a great book, The Faded Map, by Alistair Moffat, who, if memory serves right, used to be director of the Edinburgh International Festivals, but he's also a very keen historian and writes very accessibly and very knowledgeably, well researched. But I recommend The Faded Map if you're interested about post-Roman Scotland and the countries that existed here. And hopefully this little run, the first of my series, will give you a wee taste of what's on your doorstep in the Central Belt. And then the next one we'll have a look at will be a bit more modern, and it will be around the Falkirk Wheel and the Kelpies. But I do intend taking in the Munro, Scotland's highest hills, and a little bit more history with Trimontium in the Borders, which is a Roman name, 3 hills. Where King Arthur is said to be buried, and where Thomas the Rhymer got his skill at rhyming when the fairy queen abducted him and kept him until she'd had her way, and she sent him packing but gave him the gift of foresight and prophecy as a thank you. Not bad for your Nat King. going to finish this off with a wee walk along the side of the canal and back to Auchenstary Marina and the Boathouse restaurant. Where, if I had brought my wallet, I might have stopped for some breakfast. But I purposely didn't, because I don't need what they would serve me, which is way too much. Although I will admit, if you're in, get the vegetarian breakfast and then ask them to stick a slice of bacon on it. It's superb. So we're now leaving Nether Croy Woods. A managed woodland by the Forestry Commission, so not wild. And we're coming up to the canal. You can hire these narrow boats that we're just coming up to, and you can navigate from the North Sea in the east to the Firth of Clyde in the Irish Sea in the west. Albeit you wouldn't go on the sea with an narrow boat. Not the safest idea, but you can go from east to west, west to east, and cut right through, hence why it was built. Save cargo having to go around the north of Scotland and the wild weather it can encounter there. It's one of the most peaceful places. I really enjoy this little stretch of tranquility. Oh, the tired muscles feel a lot better now. My thighs feel less like they're going to tear themselves apart. First runner we've seen. That's unusual. Hey. Going a lot faster than I did. Let's pick the pace up back to the car and then stretch. And that's us, folks. A circuit of only 6.5 kilometres. A climb of 200 or so metres. That's plenty. Catch you later.